Real talk for the bold, bruised, and built to last. Welcome to the Built This Way podcast with Patricia Mullen.
Welcome to part 2 of Built This Way with Branden LaNette. So you are one of the most vocal, brave people I know today on like social media, even in the people that I actually know circle that's like not making national news for other reasons or whatever. And like the faith and politics conversation and your podcast Faith and Fire, where did that come from?
It's the boiling point, Faith and Fire, if you guys are going to look that up.
Okay,
the boiling point.
Okay.
Because that's it. Like, it's the boiling point. And a few things have happened. I really was not making sense. I started reading the Bible every single day in 2024. So I read it every day for that year. And it just felt like I was reading a book. It was just words, but I'm like, I'm going to stick with it because I know God's the answer. I burnt my whole life down. I burnt my coaching business to the ground. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And I'm like, that's it.
Wow.
I've tried everything but going through God. Like, God, whatever you need from me, like, I surrender. Like, I gave up. I waved the white flag. I'm like, I'm in. Read the Bible for a year. It wasn't until January of this year that I started reading it that the words came to life. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not just a book of words. Like, this is literally a guidebook. Common sense. Everything's in here. And it was the just defining moment, taking the past Branden, that hyper independent, I've done everything by myself, F the world, F people, like, I'll do it by myself. I've been doing it by myself. And it was just that looking back of like, wow, I have never been by myself. Everything I've ever been through is to get me to this moment. Like, everything that ever hurt me, like, he created something massive and beautiful with that. And so it's just a culmination of like, I realized like God is real for me. And like, I want to go to heaven. And you don't get to go to heaven by just being a good person. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
There is a call on your life now. So I am held to hold the truth accountable and to hold the line. And so a lot of things have been kind of happening. I have a 17-year-old son who enrolled in early college. He's going to the Marines in 6 months. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm a mama. I'm a mama. I'm the mama
Yeah.
I never had. And my first 2 girls just recently moved out, and it has killed all of us. Like, I am gutted. It's a bittersweet thing. Like, I'm so happy. They're doing amazing. They're incredible humans. They're finding their independence. Our relationships look really different. It's all weird. And now my son's going into the military. And if he would have done this under a different regime, I would have freaked out. Things that are happening now that I knew about, I started a political group. I started posting politically the things that I started to notice, because I'm like, he's been talking about the military for years. And I'm like, I will never let you sign up. Like, not under Biden. He's not a commander in chief. Okay. Like, you're not going to work for that man. I don't care who you are. You're not working for that man. Is that a shot of vodka?
Yeah.
Am I stressing you out? Are we going to get edited out? Cause
No, this is just
I'm
actually,
just-
this is literally
I'm
water and vitamin water. That
Okay.
probably looked weird at the timing. Yeah, anybody that knows me knows that, like, no
I'm
disagreements.
stressing
keep
her out
talking.
right now. And she's like, I need a drink.
No. We have no sponsors of the show, and if they did, they would have to know. So just so you know, if you would like to sponsor Built This Way, get a hold of
Word.
me. But yeah, you need to understand like the values and the kind of base of the show, right? Like, I swear a lot of things. I said in the first one. I'm a Christian American, proud
Right.
female that doesn't wave, but I don't necessarily agree with 100% that everybody always says either.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't know everything.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning. And to be honest with you, I am, and it's not my relationship with God. I think that that's what I thought it was. It's my view on my relationship with God. I need to reframe how I say that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've been going back to it. It's always been there, but maybe I haven't been leaning on him, or like what you were saying, doing things alone.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just been speaking through people like so freaking loud to me that it's like, okay, obviously there's something there too,
Right.
and just the real side is I also don't want to give up who I am.
Right. There isn't one
So,
part of me
here's the-
that has felt like I've had to give up who I am. He literally, just things kept happening. I really kept my politics separate from my page, from a marketing standpoint, from a business standpoint,
Yeah.
because that's what I was taught. Like, You cannot talk politics. You cannot talk religion. You cannot talk all these things because you're going
Oh,
to,
shit, they blew through that back in, like,
yeah,
2016 or whatever it was. Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah.
done. We talk about it at the tables now,
We,
right?
I do now.
When families fight about it.
Yeah. So, the world of Branden
But
LaNette
that was
is
back
is
then.
in an uproar because I'm not going to lie to people anymore. I'm not going to tell you that, yeah, Patricia, I think you're a really great Christian and it's okay that you vote for abortion. Like, I'm not going to sign off on the bullshit anymore. The same way that we all sat back silently, we all sat back and we're just like, oh, let people do what they're going to do. It's okay. Love is love and all these things. Like, those things,
Mm,
silence is complicity. And so when I see
yeah.
something like Arena get murdered on a train by herself with grown-ass adults, just letting her die
Wow.
alone, like, that
Wow.
lit a fire in me. I went on my Facebook page that day and I went crazy. I'm like, fuck
Wow.
you guys. This is not okay. I am sick of it. I am not going to keep my mouth shut anymore. And then you bring Charlie Kirk into it. I am done. I will not be quiet anymore. I have flipped my whole world upside
Exactly.
down. I flipped the
I,
tables over.
yeah, that was a rough day for me, and I actually have some recordings that I made. I couldn't put them out.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even wanna really go into it because it's such an emotional day to talk about. But I do feel you on a lot of
Yeah.
that stuff, and it honestly has nothing to do with how other people are gonna view it. It's me going back to that
Right.
place again. For me, it means a lot different
Yeah.
stuff. It's kind of a joke between my husband and I that I stay out of politics and he stays out of policing, and we made a pinky swear and we stay happily married.
Yes. I can see that.
And that's where this comes from, not because I don't wanna fight, because I know what happens when I do.
Right.
So, it was hard, my mother called me that day, and we were talking. Actually, I called her. I called my
Yeah.
mother, upset, really upset. Damn it, this is gonna be on the podcast, I know. Um, but I called my mom and I was like, "Mom, they killed him," and and she's like, "I'm so glad you're not in politics anymore because of this and that." I was like, "Mom, I wanna go back."
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do, and it was rough. So, this is coming from all the sacrifice, which what I mean, compared to others, wasn't a lot. The army stole who I was. Then 20 years later, it happened again, and it wasn't because of, a stolen identity or anything like that, but that's how it felt.
Right. With your relationship with politics, you're saying you felt like,
And maybe yeah, and, in a small way, maybe my relationship with God too.
and is it politics or is it people? Is it that you get in your head about what people
Ah,
think and what people say?
no, it's not about what people think, it's about what they do. And not even so much the consequences or fear,
Mhm.
but it's really hard for someone that has that warrior mindset to half warrior, right? So I've never worked in that arena and not ended up managing a campaign or running behind the scenes in something. And by the way, the first, which you're gonna be like, "What the hell?" campaign I ever won, my husband and I were co-managers of a Democrat.
Yeah.
We won because it was Benton Harbor,
Yeah.
Michigan. There were literally no Republicans. I think
Please,
when
I
Trump
voted for
won.
Obama, you guys, the first time. I believed his bullshit. So,
But when he first ran, like, there were none. I mean, we lived in Benton Harbor. I think Trump won on 63 total votes when it's in the city of that. I was, like, one of 2 because my husband was the other one, I know for a fact.
yeah.
And the people that were in the city told me that they didn't vote for Hillary because they couldn't vote for a woman. So they voted for Donald Trump, which I was like, "Well, that's interesting," because and it's like and it's the biblical stuff, right? But, oh, sorry, this is now my nose is going, "Ah." But yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, and so that's where it kinda goes for me is just this whole shit in my past and the trauma and what it means. My husband and I, our careers had to completely make a change, move out of state, leave our homes. I had a situation, and there are people up there that the ultimate gaslight erased my identity, basically told people that I was under a gag order. So some of my best friends, even people in my wedding, stopped reaching out because they thought that I couldn't talk to them. What bullshit is that?
That's insane. So,
And it's all just wrapped around that.
yeah.
So when I left, it was just like really quick. That's part of why. It happened very fast. Our lives are so much better. We're doing so much, like, it was a blessing. But shit, I mean, it wasn't without some sort of sacrifice.
So this is my thing. I feel like politics is a messy business, and I don't think I would ever be paid enough money to be in it because it's never going to be black and white. Like, you have to sell part of your soul to do whatever it's going to take, and I never want to be that person. And I think this country as a whole has to take that power back because the government works for
Yeah.
us, and there's so much manipulation, there's so many lies. You can't tell me that you work for a party and your life is so devastated that you have to pick up and move and not say that's a huge, just fundamentally fucked up idea. Like,
Yeah.
number one, I'm pissed that they had that much power over you. Number two, like, fuck those people.
Yeah.
That
Well, I mean, you can move and then, you're starting a business and your husband can have a career, or you could stay and go bankrupt because neither one of you can get jobs because you've been blacklisted in a small community.
Right.
Because that happened. And so that's just reality and, what you have to do. I've had opportunities to come back. I feel so bad. My girl ran for governor up
Yeah.
there, good old Toowoomba, and she
Voted
called
for
and
her.
asked me, and actually it was a text. I'm sitting in the back seat of my husband's truck with my mother-in-law, and she sent me a text, "Hey, can you talk?" And I was joking, and I said, "What, you running for gov?" And she's like, "Yeah, call me." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh my
shit."
God.
And I could have gone and helped her. And if there was a point where I was going to go do it for anybody, that would have been it. It's unfair. I was so mad at friends. They didn't do anything, but that was the point. I felt like they didn't do anything
Right.
because people like to bitch about the way that the situation is. And at the end of the day, I wanted to be able to come back home. And unless the state had changed, there wasn't a way for me to do that, I
Right.
felt like. I mean, technically in the state of Michigan, you can still let a woman go for trying to have babies or trying to get pregnant because there's a Patricia's law sitting on somebody's
That's
desk.
insane to me.
But that's a thing. And like, I can't go through the whole story, but that's a thing. And they didn't care. And it's because of the makeup of the state. They're not going to ever admit that women are the only ones that can technically have babies, which is like, why would you ever hire someone between the ages of, I don't know, 18 and 50?
Right.
Because that's kind of our time to be able to do that shit.
Right.
I'm never going to have kids. I'm having a hysterectomy. I'm sure shit never going to happen in the state of Michigan. But it would have been nice to help them.
Right.
Your daughters.
Right.
And because a Republican senator had the law, and it was during the abortion time, and she had talked about how her baby had been she carried it to term because she was Catholic, and it was a painful experience. They spent the time and the rest of the term berating her as
Wow.
one of the only female Republican senators, instead of all supporting the woman
Yeah.
trying to help other women.
Right.
A law that literally helps 50%, no, 100% of the population sitting on somebody's desk. If somebody wants to pick that shit up, I can tell you where to find it. But yeah, it's just wild. So that's where that came from. It's emotional shit.
That's emotional shit.
It's a failure. It's there. It didn't happen. I'm pissed. This isn't sadness. This is like anger.
I feel it.
Yeah. But
And it's warranted. And it's okay.
yeah, I'm happy now, and I'm moved on, and it is what it is. But that shit still needs to be done. I mean, there's states like that are still fucked up. You live in that state.
I live here.
That's fucked up. My friends and my family live there.
Right.
So, yeah. Yeah. I do some things sometimes. Every once in a while, a friend will call me and I help them with some stuff.
Yeah.
So I still help with some political things and whatnot. But this show is a help in that. It's getting me back.
It's therapeutic.
And I can't, it sucks that there are still topics that affect me like that.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
But it gives someone else, like you being able to be here and be vulnerable and share your side of this and your story. There's someone listening that can relate to that. There's someone whose heart breaks for that. I mean, as a mom, like it is heartbreaking that it breaks my heart that you don't get to experience that. Like that, my life is nothing without having had that. And every baby is just like this new my heart breaks for you because I know what a gift that is. And I know, like, you have every right. Be pissed off at God, be pissed off at the world, be pissed off at Michigan, be pissed off at your friends, be pissed off at everybody. But there's going to
Yeah,
be something amazing that God gets to use this for. And I can't say
yeah,
what it is.
I'm searching for it. I really am. I mean, I'm not. Don't feel sorry for me. I'm like, I'm not sad.
Yeah.
This stuff, it comes in waves.
Oh, for sure.
It's worse because I'm not the only one that it's affecting.
Right.
But you know what? There's also something to be said about being this age and being childless. Right now, I'm starting to embrace that a little bit.
I mean, you have to embrace
So
that.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can either be a victim and feel sorry for yourself forever, because it's not just this situation. Life is lifing. No one gets out of the
Yeah.
arena. One way or another, that gauntlet is going to fuck you up. Like, one way or another. And you're getting hit by that gauntlet. That is your battle. That is your arena. And you're going to mourn that forever. In the same way that, like, I
Yeah.
mourn the fact I don't have a mom to call. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody that can help me parent, and I've gone through some of the hardest the past year have been the hardest trials of being a parent. Like, the hardest of, like, with my daughter and her independence. I am mourning her in a way that I didn't know was possible, and I have to let it happen because she is a beautiful, incredible, independent adult, and I just have to sit back. I went from, like, she's my baby, I see her every day of her life. We talk every day of her life, to, like, I'm happy to catch her once a week. You know, like, I can't talk to anyone to say, hey, it's going to get easier, it's going to get better. Like, I mourn that. There's so much missing in my life to not have that. So right now, I love that you get to call your mom for this shit. I love that you
Yeah.
have that support.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, because my dad's been gone for decades, and we reconnected. We didn't talk for years. So as you're saying this, I'm like, wow. The thing with the army and that whole
Yeah.
thing, that was a mess. And then my parents didn't talk to me for a while until 9/11 happened, and my mom and my stepdad at least. And then all of a sudden, I'm not persona non grata, but it wasn't her fault by any means. It
Right.
was him, and so there was a long time in between that, and at that point, we're in different states. So then, you're getting older, and then you're just more segregated and things, and so there's probably a good decade of just separation between my mother and I. And when she moved back, and she's gone through her own personal trials of divorce, and cancer, and just like several things, and she's made it through this. My mother is a survivor, and I kind of watched her go through that, so I have another perspective.
Right.
And when you move away too, I lived very close to where she was, 45 minutes away. Probably talked to her every couple months, which was weird. Now I live 10 hours away, and I talk to her every day.
Wow.
Like, she'll text, which is like, I can't take it for granted.
Yeah.
She had a stroke a couple years ago, and I didn't know it. And my brother was so freaked out, he didn't tell me. I couldn't get hold of her for a couple
no.
days. So I drove to Michigan and go to her house, and it's all closed up and everything. And so, she's at the hospital because she had a stroke. Freaking traumatized shit too. Thanks for that.
For sure.
He'll be listening.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I get to the hospital, and all these nurses are with her laughing their asses off. And my mom is like me. I mean, I'm her, but 30 years younger, I guess. And so she's got everybody laughing hysterically and stuff, and telling the story about her stroke. And she's like, I'm fucking watching Darcy and Stacy, and Stacy starts crying again. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this show? And she's like, oh yeah. So when we got home, I had to start watching the show with her. And that bonded us. So like now every Monday and Sunday, I have to watch this incredibly, what it seems to be toxic reality
For
television
sure.
show of couples that, are basically finding each other on the internet, like these apps that I talked about, are that are really bad for you. But that's how I bond with my own, almost 70-something-year-old
Yeah.
mom. And we just dish about the people on the show, which is like the thing.
That's funny.
So that's like, it's the stupidest thing.
No, but it's
that we
great.
talk about other stuff and news and politics and things. Also,
Yeah.
we started talking about other things. Actually, I buy her books, and I'll send her books.
Nice.
And then, like, she likes comedies and biographies and stuff like that. So, like, funny shit. Kevin Hart's book was hysterical. If you've not read it, that was the last one.
Yeah.
I had to read that one. She wants to read it again. She's going to take it back from
What
me.
needs to
But
happen
yeah,
in Michigan for you guys to come home?
oh, jobs, man. we'd love to come back. It's one of the most beautiful states in our union. I mean, and it has everything. It has all the seasons. It has all the wine. It's got the water.
Mhm.
Lake Michigan's amazing. We're boaters. We love to come back. But you know what? There is not, the jobs are minimal and the housing. I've looked, I've looked online. I helped do some strategic planning for one of the municipalities up
Yeah.
there on the back end. So I still get to do some
Nice.
things or whatever. And I scope it out, and their biggest problems are getting people to move back because of the same problem that we're having. It's like, oh, great. If we could find a job for him, I could work wherever
Yeah.
that's in his field that makes sense. Then what are we going to pay to live the same quality of life that we do down here? And that's not just house, it's the insurance. It's insane that
Out
mine went
here,
down like
I
by
know.
80% in Alabama.
I
Like,
know.
what the hell is that about? And then the other thing was the taxes. So it's like, now these are things you think about as an adult. If you're younger, listen to this shit, right? Look at where you're going to live and look at what your tax rate is
Mhm.
before you buy your
Yeah.
house. Because I used to live in a town where literally the street behind me was the township, and people's tax rate were like 4 or 5% less. I shit you not. And it was something unreal. And they had a completely different set of services because they were being serviced by a completely different municipality. I had the glorious city bullshit.
Yeah.
I got guns on my roof because nobody put them there because they're shooting in the air because they thought it was fun. We played the game. Is it fireworks or is it gunshots?
Oh my
That's the hood.
gosh.
Now I switched from hood rats to hillbillies
Yeah.
where I live, and the meth billies do the same thing, but they're shooting for property, so I don't have to worry about it so much.
Right.
But my taxes are so much lower, I don't care. That's the point. Like before I was paying high taxes, you
You
want to be
cared.
safe.
Yeah.
You expect it.
We pay village
Um,
and township. Like we're right on the line, so we get to pay both. And I'm like, that's taxes. Come on, you guys. I could give you,
things you need to talk about in your 40s.
yeah, not just, people need to be made aware. Like what happened to the Tea Party? Like when are we going to get
Votes
pissed off
matter.
and why am I paying taxes on a house I
Doesn't-
own? Like that's never going to make sense to me. So you never really own anything in the United States of America. They charge you for water,
People-
they charge
yeah.
you for air, they charge you for
Well-
land, they charge you for everything.
The state of Florida is getting rid of real estate tax.
Yeah. I heard.
So that's something.
Yeah.
And it should, because you shouldn't have to pay,
No.
what is it? Taxation is theft. Tax on something that you own over and over and over and over again,
Correct.
just because you own it. And some states are different than others, and some municipalities or cities or wherever you are different than others. And it sucks because it's designed for certain communities to, not make as much or not be able to have as much. And when I lived in the city that we did, we thought we've got rose-colored sunglasses and we're going
Right.
to move into the city and we're going to buy a house and we're going to fix it up and we're going to do all the good things. But then our quality of life went to shit. And I'm like, wait a second. Okay, so now we're trying to do all these things. There's really no subsidy for us doing all these things,
Right.
but now also don't have a safe quality of life and our house values down because we live where we live,
Right.
which now looks like a shithole right now because you're not picking up the trash or anything else. Like anybody from that area knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because that happened, having to fight and start PACs, political action groups and stuff. Literally had to do this. Remember those signs?
I do.
Yeah, say no to the income tax. That was me.
Yeah.
They were taking down signs, so I had to put up billboards because they were taking our signs down. Spend like tens of thousands of dollars of other people's money
Yep.
to do that. And we lost because of voter fraud.
Yeah. Voter
I
fraud.
mean, it was
and no one's held accountable.
There was no accountability. I had accountability. I showed it to the attorney general. I was walking in Lansing and him with a group of friends during a convention, Republican state convention. And we were walking by and the attorney general at the time, Bill Sheedy, grabbed my arm and was like, Patricia Mullen, and gave me a hug. And they were like, what the? I was like, I know people. And I was like, no, because I've been on so many complaint forms.
That's so
They know
great.
who I am. They must have a line. But no, yeah, it's just wild. And there were things that even the local government had done, and I would screenshot it and I would send it to the news, and they did nothing. One time, a woman, we were at ABC, I don't remember which news channel it was, but they were filming and they were doing B-roll, so the camera was like sitting next to
Okay.
us, and it was rolling, and one of the commissioners had threatened to hit me in the head with a brick. And I looked at my husband. I was like, "Did you just threaten an officer of the law with a weapon?" And then I tried to get a hold of them, and they're like, "We don't." I'm like, "But he said he was recording it. He said he had it." And no,
Yeah.
because they don't want to show
Nope.
the truth, and that was the media. I think it's getting better. I feel like there's more accountability and there's more, at least, transparency. I think that we are in the most transparent as far as what people say, I mean, right, you know, shut down, that's just gonna piss everybody off saying that.
Right.
But and then there's times where I'm like, I don't know. But at least in the beginning, it seemed to be the most transparent administration that I had ever
Yeah.
seen. And at least, you know, having the daily updates and those sort of things, and having the ability to have local public, regular day-to-day reporters that are people. Like, if you wanted to apply to go be in the White House press
Mhm.
room, you could apply because you have your
Mhm.
podcast and you do and you could, like, basically be in the lottery to go.
Right.
And you could have, like, I think that's a pretty incredible thing because now it's, you're actually able to go into the horse's
Right.
mouth. And it's not someone that's groomed by the media to tell us what it is that they want us to
Right.
know. We've got too many people from the press coming back going, "Yeah, so about that, I was told not to say
Yeah.
it. Sorry,
Yeah.
everybody."
I got a fat check to shut up. Like,
Yeah, it's like, "Thanks for that. That's great. Where did all of our money go? Rubble, rubble, rubble." So, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens and things too, but it's always gets painful before it gets better, everybody. Just remember
right.
that. Anything, you know, surgeries, healing,
Right.
you get cosmetic surgery, guess what? They're gonna mess up your face before it looks pretty. Any sort of chemical peel, think about it that way. So I feel like America's just getting a chemical peel.
That makes sense. And I like to have hope for America like that. And at the end of the day, I mean, any Christian knows, like, the battle's been won. We're literally just called to hold the line, and that means, like, speaking up about these things. And the fact that more people are talking about this stuff, that's why I think so many people need to just get podcasts. Like, get a show, use your voice, use your platform. Facebook is Facebook's playground. My lives get deleted every 30 days, and sometimes I get kicked. TikTok kicks me off of my lives 90% of the time.
That's funny.
Having a podcast is the only place you can have an unbiased voice where this is my
I mean, the
playground.
stuff
I
that we
can
said.
I could say what I want. This is Patricia's show. Like, you get to control the narrative. Like, what is the biggest message you want people to walk away from every time they hear your show? What is your core
Well, you're not
message
alone. We're doing this together. You can, you know, keep out there, keep your voice
to
active.
use your voice?
You don't always say everything. You're not going to agree with everybody all the time, 100% of the
No.
time. And people aren't going to 100% agree with me all the time. Just like I know that they don't agree with you. And in fact, Brandon, I don't agree with you
Yeah.
100% of the time. And I was listening to your podcast the other day and you brought up a topic and I didn't know what I thought about the
Yeah.
honestly, because you got me thinking, which is crazy because I'm never going into a political conversation with because I did this for a living, right?
Yeah.
So my job was just to get people to vote for my guy, but I don't want to change your mind about how you feel. I'm just going to show you the benefits of why you should choose this other
Right.
way and how it's going to benefit you. And I was, you know, scare them straight. Look at yourselves. Was the good
Hmm.
person to do that, especially with groups. But with, you know, when you're thinking about that, it was the female president
Yeah.
conversation. It got me because I have both sided feelings on it, and a lot of what you said, I was like, yeah, I agree. I also don't
Yeah.
agree because it's just I don't want to agree, and I think that's what it
Yeah.
was. Does that make
Oh my
sense?
gosh, my even my host Rory, like, that threw him off, and he runs a man's podcast. He is like the manliest men, right? He's
But
all for that masculinity,
okay.
and he was like, "Yeah, I think they can." And I was just like, "What? I don't. I don't." Now, do I
Yeah,
think Branden LaNette for president?
yeah.
No. Like, no. Yeah, do I think
Well,
that women have a voice there? Absolutely. Like, Marjorie Taylor
I don't
Greene,
know.
if she ran and my option was someone else, like another Biden puppet stand-in, I'm gonna vote for my girl, but I'm not happy about it. And it wasn't even to the point of, like, just the disrespect in other countries. Like, if we're
No.
gonna be we are the influence in the world. Everybody's looking to
That's
America.
kind of where you got it. That was where you got me because I was listening so intently because I was just like to
Yeah.
understand, which is usually where I'm, you know, coming from. And I'm not that yes man, like, oh, I love you're the best. I agree with you all the time and things, which is why I was like, I cannot wait to have this
Yeah.
conversation with her. This is one of those few times where I'm like, let's have this
Right.
conversation. No, it's not that. So when you're talking about other countries and being able to respect us for protection of our nation and for what's better,
Right.
yes, I agree, and I get where you're coming
Yeah.
from. The woman that has in me that has worked her entire life to have to run circles, and there's just a couple parts to this, around other men just to get, like, just the base of, like, to prove that I
Of
belong there,
course.
1. but I'm always working harder than
Of
them or
course.
outworking them or whatever, and having to be bigger, better, faster, stronger, whatever. The second point is the fact that the only options we ever get now, over 200 women have ran for president
Yeah.
ever, which is like wild.
Yeah.
We know of a couple, and one of the few Republican ones was her name Margaret Thatcher or something like that. She was like a senator. It was like in the 1800s. Everyone else was like a Democrat or independent. So the other women that even though were like they're going to be able to do it, they the Democrats weren't even supporting their own because you still have 198 or whatever women that ran in your party and you never gave them a chance. So how's that for, support of women? But the other part about it is that we didn't give them support either, and they went to the wrong damn party.
Right.
So you can't even have like say that you're a bunch of Republican conservatives that you support a bunch of women, that you're not a bunch of sexist whatever. Then and I am one. I'm not saying I'm sexist and I'm all these other things,
Yeah.
but being a conservative, yeah, like, do we? Because I've seen that happen, and I've had female candidates and watched them not get supported by their own party because of this. Now, the thing that gets me so wild is the only candidates that they happen to pick, meaning the Democrats, because what I just mentioned is that the Republicans do not put women
Right.
up. Maybe because of your point, right? I don't know. I'm not the one that's doing it. They didn't ask me. But the Democrats, they're not. And the ones that they do, when they want to pull the female card, they pick the
Oh my
dumbest,
God.
most incapable, I can't form a sense of cackling or evil, whatever. And then, how do you okay, so great, and I maybe I'm a little triggered because when I when I applied for a job that I was totally valid to get, and I had more education than the person that ended up getting the job, and more experience and all the things, and I was told because the females before had both been basically let go / quit, and I don't know the details of if that actually happened, but it put a smudge on women for that role, then yeah, it kinda irked me a little
Right.
bit. So, I guess, yeah, I'm a little bit like I'm not saying, "Oh, I'm feminist, women need to wrong," or whatever, but I'm like, I just want really competent women in leadership so that we don't have to keep trying to
That
prove
part.
ourselves that we're
Yeah.
not. Yes, I get that, whatever. I would be a kick-ass president. I'll tell you all my stuff. I'll have a website tab, all the shit that I've done so that you don't have to go dig it up for me.
Right.
And I don't want to do it honestly because I just don't want to spend the time. I want to spend the rest of my time being like doing this and
Yeah.
doing a happy life. But why can't it be somebody like me? Why can't it be somebody that's got,
Right.
you don't have to have all the education. We're just gonna have some common sense and some experience and some balls about you
And I
as a female.
I love this. There's no part of me that's trying to take power from women because I'll tell you
Yeah.
right now, I think we're the superior species. I think that we're
Yeah.
smarter. We can multitask better. We're going to dig for the truth. Like women are literal natural FBI agents.
Like we always are constantly getting set up to fail. And then they're like, see, told you so. This is why we need this one. And
Right.
maybe that's why we've had some very competent women. And I don't know how she would have done it. This is when I started getting involved in
Mhm.
politics. We had like 19 candidates back in 2016, 2015 or whatever. And they're like, the delegates pick this person. And there was like this Carly Fiorina thing. It was the chick that ran the HP company. And they're like, oh, they ran into the ground. Like what company? Like Kodiak or whatever. Kodak didn't
Yeah.
run to the ground.
Mhm.
Fujifilm. There's a lot of companies that are gone. But they were giving her crap because of that. And I saw watched the debates. I'm like, she actually is like, she seems all right.
Right.
And then and then all of a sudden Donald Trump was the candidate. And I was like, I didn't pick this dude. So who is picking these
Right.
dudes? And then this guy who was actually very involved in politics, and I don't even want to say his name because he's a chairman of a very big
Okay.
organization now. But he runs into my office with a delegate form, and he says, there's an opening in Benton Harbor. You need to
Take it.
sign up as a delegate. And I went to the courthouse that day, and I had an hour to fill out my application. And I did, and I was the only one on the ballot, and I just walked in as a delegate, and I was the first one in the history of that
Very
city as a
nice.
Republican. And then they made me a state delegate because I was like the unicorn.
Yeah.
I'm a woman of color
Nice.
that's a Republican.
Right.
What? And that's how I became like in politics, which is so sad, but that's totally the
Yeah.
truth. I came in, and they were like, "Who's that?" And because I had all those other things, if I had stayed, I would have ended up in office.
Yeah.
I've already been asked a couple times. But that was like my point. Why can't it be somebody that's honest and truthful
Yeah.
about who they are? Here's the other reason why, because you can't go into it and end up being the same person.
Right.
The people that I know that went to school for politics, went to school for politics. You're going to school for something for power. Maybe you shouldn't
But
be
I
in
feel
it.
like
Let me
you
just put it that way.
stay, like you sell out. You sell
You
out,
got to go.
and that's
You can't stay and still be
no.
you. There's very few people that have, and I've known a lot of people that have done it for years and years and years and years, and they are amazing people. God help them. But, they did sacrifice a lot in themselves, and I'm just not willing to be that one.
No.
So, yeah, if we could find, like, the perfect thing of that, I would totally vote and support.
Yeah.
I just don't wanna, give up on us that bad, and maybe that's that. And I'm just being real, like, I'm
Yeah.
still conflicted about some things. I'm working through
I
them.
never want women to hear me say I don't think a female should be president and think that I'm taking away from that. Like,
No, and
it's
I wasn't trying to set up
yeah,
in that regard, so I don't want you to think that. Like, literally, we are here 2 women supporting
we are
women.
superior.
You would not be
We are
here
the
if we
superior
were not.
species. Like, we
Yes. But if you weren't that, we wouldn't be here because
correct.
just so you know, when this show started, you were one of the first people to reach out to me and tell me that you heard it.
Nice.
And then you were one of the first people to, like, share it.
Yeah.
I think you were, like, the first person to
Yeah.
share it, in fact.
I want people to
So,
be listening to the show.
I love you.
They
You're
need
awesome.
it. They need your voice, and it is another voice. And I think a lot of my influence too is I think about like my son going to the military. First of all, I don't care who you are. That's
Yep.
traumatic. He's a baby. He's a baby. And I'm like, dude, can you just wait a while? Like, get a job and hang out and work here, do something, like go to school, mess around, be a
I
kid.
get you, though.
Well, I think about this thing of like they lower the standards for women so that women can be with men in the military. I'm going to tell you right now, if you cannot pass the same test and the same requirements that my son can pass, I don't want him on the battlefield with you. If my son has to
Yeah.
go to war, he better not be put with some scaled down. Now, if you're a girl and you pass that test that the men are required to pass, hands down, I'm hell yeah.
And honestly, so me, I did this 20-something years ago. I am sure that there was a different version of the physical fitness test that I had to take. I remember not being able to do Air Force, for example, because I was too short
Yep.
and stuff like that. But, like, when we were like doing our running and our push-ups and pull-ups and all that other stuff, like, I'm trying to remember, I'm like, did I have to do less than someone else? I remember, like, basically puking almost when I was running and stuff like that. But
Right.
to your point, when it comes to the military, so I 1,000% supporter of our veterans, love our veterans. If you were able to serve, thank you. I wish I was able to finish my service with you. That's one of my life regrets. But on the other side of that, it was not set up for women at the time to be safe. And I was not in a safe situation. And even then, looking back, the hearings quote that, for me to leave were not. And a bunch of men telling me and not one woman being involved in that process. There should have been a woman involved in that
There
process.
should
There
be
were
women
none.
in the military.
And
Don't get
there
me
were none
wrong.
involved in the process
Yeah,
with
there should
me.
have been.
And had there been, it may have been a game changer. I may have stayed or whatever. But, that was not in my stars for whatever reason. It's just this thing that's always there. But no, I mean, on that, unless there was some change between now and 20 plus years ago, I don't know. I've met an incredible group of women here in town that are veterans, and they're like, "You're a veteran?" Like, "No, I'm not, because I didn't finish." Like, "No, you are." And so we've all connected, and they have similar stories. And the part that sucks is they have similar stories. The part that sucks even worse is that they're like 10 years ago
Wow. Recent.
or just a little bit after. So it's like, yeah, so it's not, I mean, it's not recent, but it's not that far away, decades away. So, I think that it is a little different, but I don't know where they are. I pray that that's a lot better
No,
now.
I do think women should be in the military 100%. And I
Yeah.
think they need to be there to
Their
protect each
position.
other. Absolutely. In places of power, in places of decision. Should they
Yeah.
be the commander in chief? No, I think that needs to be a masculine
I don't think
representation
so.
of like the US. And I don't think it should be Biden was an embarrassment as someone for people to look at and be afraid of. I think the masculine bar needs to be raised for our president. He should look like a badass, scary.
I gotta tell you
He
something,
should look
and this is
scary.
like, I gotta say, a woman right now would be a way more masculine president than our last president.
Anybody.
Just saying.
I mean,
Put a woman on some tea and she'll be all right. She'll like, yeah, let's go. Woo,
anybody could
more.
do the job better than that.
No,
But it was just a
no,
poor
but
representation of the United States. And I feel like if a bunch of girls walk up to me and, start heckling me, I'm not going to worry about that. A bunch of dudes, that's intimidating.
yeah. Well, we come from that where we are married to men and we want men to be
Men
men.
to be men, that's all I'm asking. And
I'm with you there. I'm married to a masculine guy.
Yeah.
I appreciate that about
Yeah.
him. He is a thinker and a builder. And I mean it like a thinker, a critical thinker and a builder, and all the other things too, right? But those are the things that make me gravitate towards him. And I see that 1,000%. And with the other stuff too, not like in disagreement, good
Good
conversation.
conversation.
Let's
Yeah.
put it that way. Yes.
I know it makes a
This
lot
was
of people mad.
awesome.
I know it makes a lot of people mad, and
No,
it was never
I'm not afraid of making people mad. They don't need
yeah,
to be here, but I think that they will want to be here because this is just real
yeah,
conversation and it's not always one side or the other.
right,
But at the end of the day, you and I very much align in our where we are
right,
thinking. But without this conversation, how do people decide?
right,
You can't live life in a
right,
vacuum. Because if you do, you don't know what the hell to think. And just like you said before, you voted for Obama
mhm,
before, and now you literally had to go outside of that thinking to get to where
right,
you are now. And no matter where you're at with that, it just needs to happen. And not enough of this
no,
happens, which is the sad
mhm,
part. We get so walled up. Oh, I disagree or whatever. And it's like, no, we really don't disagree. I just was asking the
right,
questions of the why,
yeah.
you know? And it turns out to be really good
Well, the
stuff.
interesting
And it lets
conversations for me are the ones where I realize this go around, like, people didn't vote on policy. Policies are not aligning with who people are defending right now. And I feel like I don't care who you are. I don't care who's running for president. It will always be who has the policies that are closest to how I can honor
maybe I
God.
don't care if a woman wins, but I certainly would love to see a really strong woman run.
Yeah,
Let us go be in the arena because the way that they've done it is not real.
right.
We haven't had real actual
No, but
choices. We've had
it's just part of their manipulation. It's been a manipulation tactic from the beginning. A manipulation just to make them look like they are the party of all inclusivity, like the whole manipulate. It's a mind fuck because the women they put up, they know we're never going to make it. They know that.
and really just like, woo, now, woo, we should do a couple more
Yeah.
episodes.
I mean, they're never it's just been a manipulation. So they look cool. They look like the good guys, but they didn't take it. And really, like, are we really going to put the AOC up here? Are we really going to have Kamala actually do this again?
I'm not worried about this
Like,
because they're
that's what
not
I'm saying.
listening.
It's you can't even take it serious. Like, that's another handoff. That's like they want Republicans to win, but they still want to look like the party of, like, we're better for people. We're the people's
Yeah, let's just
party.
make some new ones. Forget all the parties, make some new ones. Everybody's screwing up so big right now. Like,
No more
and just get their
politics.
people
Like,
in there. It's
there
just,
shouldn't be a school for
I'm done.
politics. It should be the farmer that's about to retire who has lived life on the ground under the policies of the people that he's voted for, under the law that people have voted for. But what happens is when you really get into this mess, you realize how screwed we are with other countries. You realize how in debt we are. You realize how many people are bribed. And that's why everybody's going to sell their soul for this, because they're going to say, hey, I know you really want to run as a Republican. Here's some things that we have to compromise on. No person should ever
So,
compromise when it comes to their party or their core beliefs or their values.
so one last little like tidbit.
Yeah.
So back in my day, I worked for a congressman and we're driving around, or he's driving, and he's like flipping everybody, and he's calling everybody for this law.
Yeah.
And there was like, okay, I'll vote this way, I'll vote this way, I'll vote this way, I'll vote this way, I'll vote this way. It's kind of mind boggling too, because apparently these things are like thousands of pages long, which is nuts. So it's just that there's all this stuff in there. Maybe they're hundreds of pages and they're thousands of bills or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot. And there was a poison pill in it. And so someone from DC calls and was like, oh, there's a thing taking money out for vets. I'm like, oh my God, let me switch gears. Calls everybody back. Don't vote for this. Don't vote for this. Don't vote for this. And it had nothing to do with this thing. But there was this one little thing that would have taken money away from a veterans program. So here was this other
Yeah.
bill that was getting introduced the next day and it had to go through. But then all of a sudden it changed. And I was like, the second story is my first couple minutes in convention. I went to state convention. I was so excited.
Yeah. I'm
I'm wearing all red. I'm I'm here. Da, da, da. We got a convention night. It's going to be so great. We're going to learn so much stuff. No, they lock us in a room. A bunch of people yell at you and tell you who the hell you're voting for. I shit you not. I joined this whole thing because I want to know how the process worked and who the hell are these people and how do these delegates get picked? And I want to know, I want to be a part of it. And literally, I was a tool for my vote. And that shit is how it works. There are always, usually in every county or every sort of whatever, a couple people that decide for everybody else what way we're going to go. And then they bully everybody into doing it. And there's usually some sort of back end reason of why. So that's probably what's going to get me hit off or something because I said that. But that's
No,
like a
I
true
think
thing.
the
It
truth needs to come out, and so much of that
And
has been
it like
exposed.
so you could like go and you get the farmers, you get the local
Mhm.
business owners, you get the people, the residents. They're like, I'm gonna be a delegate. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have a vote. Yeah, I'm gonna have my voice. And then they get there and then they're totally just like Because you know what? At the end of the day, all those groups vote together.
Right.
They all have to submit the same nomination. So you're not all individually voting. You're going because you're going to give the weight of the group so that you can all vote for that person. You can pass that nominee through.
Yeah.
That is how people get on the tickets. Then we, as citizens, vote for those motherfuckers. And we didn't even pick them. I learned that in like 5 minutes. I was like, this has been 5 minutes. I just learned all that shit. That's
so what
crazy.
you're saying without saying it, and I'll say it because I'm fine. I'm fine to be
I don't care.
canceled. The
I
White
said
House,
it.
they've been
I said it.
listening to me since I started my new podcast.
I was already audited by the IRS that they know where I am.
Great.
They've already come after
Great.
me. I got no money.
We just need to
think
start a
I'm-
revolution against the
I ain't got
government
shit.
because they've been we're useful idiots to them. They're never going to the government doesn't give a shit about you. They're all serving their own purpose. They're all filling their own pockets. They're never going to care about you ever. Like you have to take.
The government doesn't
No.
care.
No.
So this was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Do you agree?
I agree. It was fun.
You should come back sometime.
For sure.
I think.
Anytime. And you need to come on Listen Bitch.
I would love to come on Listen Bitch. That would be a dream.
A hard launch for the
to come on Listen
podcast.
Bitch. So if you loved this, and I didn't polarize you too bad with my awesome friend Branden, you want to be a part of this amazing show Built This Way, and you want to sponsor this, you know what I'm saying? And you just like the vibe, you should totally get a hold of me. I have an email, builtthiswaypodcast@gmail.com, because I would like to keep it going. So I made a note to myself mentally to make sure I said that. But Branden, yeah, I think that you should come back. This has been a blast. We went into way more things. I probably took so much more of your time than I realized we would. I'm so
I
sorry.
didn't even realize what time it was. And that's what happens when you're having a great conversation. Who watches the clock? So
this was awesome.
Yeah.
We went through emotions. I think I cried for the first time on the show. Didn't mean to do that.
sorry about that.
But you brought it out of me, talking politics and God.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really, really digging the vibe of where all this is going. And maybe a little lighter next time. I don't know. But find Branden. Let's see. BrandenLaNette.com is your website. And then I looked at that the other day. It's beautiful. It's got all your different books and your podcasts and your coaching information and how to follow you. What else you got?
Right now, that's it. Probably BrandenLaNette.com. You're going to get all my info, but definitely tune into the podcast.
I'll put all the links.
Like Listen Bitch, I'm on Apple, Spotify. All my books are on Amazon or Audible. Get resourced and feel free to reach out. You know, you'll see how I can help you, really, because I get it.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe.
Yeah.
Subscribe. I actually just subscribed to your email list last night or this morning. It was last night. I don't know.
Thank you.
But I need more of it.
Yeah.
I need more of
For
you.
sure. I appreciate that.
Branden LaNette, author of Once Upon a Time, Bitches,
Yes, ma'am.
and Fuck Luck, Bitch, and Fuck Luck, was it by Bitcoin?
Fuck Luck Bitches and Smart Bitches by Bitcoin.
Smart Bitches by Bitcoin. That's like a tongue twister if
is.
I've ever heard one. Very, very naughty tongue twister.
It's fun.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you
Thanks
so much.
being
Thank you
here.
for having me on. It was a great honor.
So fun.